Comics podcast. It's Saturday as usual here. Well, it's noon here, but it's actually, what, about 10
o'clock.
10 o'clock West Coast. We got West Coast representation now. Hey, I'm Rob, and
I'm Roland, coming to you from California in the desert, high desert, where it's a nice 100 during the day and a cool 60 to 58 at night.
oh yeah, I can't beat that. So I take it the trip getting over there was fine. We'll just catch up, everybody. A job situation opened up in Cali, so that's where my brother. And it's unfortunate we say Cali, but it's not what everybody believes it is. It's when they go drive you out and dump your. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's actually would it be east of what civilization is on the West Coast? No,
What do
from
you
the
want to
coast.
call that civilization? No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
west. The west is usually along the water.
I'm by the Mojave Desert.
There you go.
I'm by the Mojave Desert.
So-
and they call it just like for us, we call the coastal bend where we are. They call it the high desert. That's like their little moniker. And you know, I used to get annoyed by it until I realized, oh wait, we do the same thing with the coastal bend. Everything's coastal bend.
Yeah,
and
coastal bend.
High desert.
Yesterday, just a point of reference. Yesterday was National Comic Book Day, and I want to give a shout out to Horn Collectible Comics or Comics, and they're located in the Trade Center. Had a really great conversation with the gentleman that owns that establishment. We're hopefully we'll be able to get him in the future. We'll have him on as a guest, and he shares a very interesting background of comics, and I think that we could definitely have some very interesting conversations. I want to give a shout out to Dean out at Texas Toys. I want to give our friends out at Comics Plus and at American Classic Comics, Dave and Nathan and Ryan, and that's just to name a few. I want to give those shout outs to our local comic book shops that are doing their best to fill those shelves with a little bit of something, and that's what I wanted to basically say, because in our news segment, they're trying to cater to different type of readers out there, and of course you have to stay in flux. I mean, you know, you usually have your Marvel and your DC, but then, you know, if you're able to kind of stock some of those, you know, independent books that are not mainstream yet, like, you know, I would say more like your Image, and then you could say some of these other companies like Boom or Vault or Aftershock are right on the cusp of joining that. You know, they're stocking these on their shelves and making them readily available.
And then if I can, I've been here for a week, surprisingly, and you know, it was nice that the comic book store that I went to when I was stationed here 20 years ago is still here. Just Imagine had a good and sad talk with the person working there, Olaf. I mean, granted, I was able to score. They gave me this. I saw it there, and I was able to pick up the promo poster for crossover.
Very cool.
I'm
very envious, as you know. No. That's awesome. I saw some people promoting those a couple of weeks back, or maybe even a month or two back ago. But that's cool that you have that.
So I've done something that I haven't done in at least 10 years, and that was I got a pull box because
I didn't know what you were going to say.
The comics that they bring in, it's a small town that I live in now, and there's only one, and it wouldn't be prudent to get a whole bunch of comics. So the closest other town is probably Lancaster, and that's about 2 hours away. So it's not. I'm not gonna be. Well, I mean, with a comic book store,
you know,
yeah.
I read that people sometimes do that because they're so adamant on getting the titles that they want that they will travel to that bigger city. That is a drive. I mean, you might as well go ahead and have stuff scheduled for the day if you're making a trek like, and then if the books aren't there on that day that you're wanting to pick up your books or you're
Well, I
hoping
mean, for us, like I think it's that same area that they have a Sam's and Costco, so we'll be making probably a
Okay.
monthly trip out there anyway. So
Okay.
I might go up over there and check out and have a pull box there. But right now, so I put in Savage Dragon, Wolverine, and then the Black and White and Blood. And while I was there, I went ahead and picked up Wolverine 3
Nice.
and
Even
Wolverine 4.
even nicer. You know what it was? I was listening to an old podcast of ours. I was just kind of like, because they're now available.
Reminiscing.
They're now available on audio podcasts.
Audio podcasts.
You can get it on Anchors. No, I'm going to read the whole promo. Anyway, right now you can get it on Spotify and I think Google. There's 6 platforms that have now popped up. So there are still more that it's out there. It's coming, folks.
If we can double our viewership from 5 to 10.
Yes. We experienced. I'm going to talk about another show that me and my wife do. It's Curious Transmissions. We've seen our listenership triple in coverage just because it started hitting all these other platforms. And I think I
9
really,
people.
yeah, 9. But I do appreciate them very, very much so because they're willing to experiment and try something that's different. They're seeing the logo. Hey, check out this new show. And I thank you guys very much. Just reach out to us, subscribe, follow, and let us know what you think about Ripped Comic podcast and also Curious Transmissions.
Episode 2 of Curious Transmissions. I'm on it. And we talk about our, I guess, paranormal upbringing.
Our other lives. Like living in a virtual life, like WandaVision, or is it?
I mean,
did you see it? Okay, that's our first segment. Yeah. See how we segue? We're insane.
I mean, aside from finding out that we need to make a comic of our mom called Demon Hunter, we're supernatural. We're not realizing,
and we're all trapped in this bubble, and we cannot leave the edge of the circle, or else we'll disintegrate. Because of her powers, and when we stray, she knows where we're at and just flop. Never mind. See, we gotta save this story. Yeah. So did you see it? Do you see the trailer?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
So what'd you think? I mean, it's he did die, and so do you have guesses? I mean, I actually cheated and I saw somebody that was giving a lot of spoilers and what he thought was happening in this. And it's only a 2-minute trailer, and he's telling the whole thing how this happened and breaking down the trailer.
Well, I mean, but anybody who's known about Wanda, I mean, if I recall, she was the reason for House of M. I mean, she's not very stable, and she alters reality, and that's why it was to me in Avengers, she was about to take down Thanos. I mean that. People gloss over that and don't even talk about it. They're waiting for, that female roll call in Endgame, when in the one before it was her by herself that she was about to take down Thanos. And he actually had a look of, but anyway, so in the comic, she's killed Vision before. She's probably one of the strongest mutants around there who, of course, because of the, who owns the rights to what, Wanda and
but we could say it now that they own it now.
Well, they are the kids of Magneto, of Eric.
Do you think this show is going to be that bridge that just really solidifies it all together?
Well, and that's the great thing is that when you have stuff like this, and then I believe the Doctor Strange is supposed to be like a horror story, so they can explain that New Mutants was just a really bad dream. That it really wasn't made, and Dark Phoenix.
Oh.
But I mean, and to me, Disney Plus doing this original stuff is giving it a lot more way to. Again, we've talked about this, giving that character depth, making you actually care about these characters. One of the biggest problems I had with the X-Men is the movies is that they didn't invest any of their time to Jean Grey. So when she turned into Phoenix, it really didn't tug at any feelings because, I mean, I've rewatched, the X-Men movies, and they did a disservice to Cyclops and Jean Grey and that whole thing. When you watch some of the cartoons, in the first couple episodes of almost any iteration of the cartoon, they make Cyclops this strong leader. I mean, you kind of wonder why in the movies why Cyclops was even considered a leader, because it was pretty much Wolverine and the X-Men. And again, you're trying to. I still like the X-Men movies because you can't. When it came out, it was already like almost 40 years worth of X-Men history, and to be able to introduce it to a big audience that maybe have never read any comics, you're trying to shove all that history into one movie and to get you to like it, and that's a hard thing to do. I mean, the franchise has lasted for a while, and now with Marvel getting their hands back on it, and again with Disney Plus being able to, because Wanda, she was the mutant who was on the Avengers, so maybe there's that bridge that they can finally start bringing some X-Men cameos into the WandaVision and all of a sudden into reality.
What I did notice was that there have been several films in recent that have messed with, I guess, aspect ratio. And if you notice, it starts with the curved aspect ratio from the old television sets. Then we end up getting in something like the 4:3, and then there's a part where she's being questioned at the table by the two. Well, so where did you come from, or whatever the case may be, or whatever, and then you start to see it open up into widescreen format, which is more
so it's like a Pleasantville too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like Pleasantville.
Exactly. That comes into play.
We have a question. We have a question here on the chat.
Oh, we do.
Do you think Disney Plus will do backstories on all the characters? That's a question from Chris, one of my friends, fellow comic geek, really loves Arrow, and a Hot Wheels collector too. His VW collection fills up 3 walls and then some.
See, that's another thing. I think everybody what they need to do, instead of like speculating on what the show's going to do, they need to kind of streamline it with, okay, these are the properties that we've established, and then these are the movies that we're doing, and then this is the future of what we're having. I think to some extent we are going to see some of those characters, and I think that's where we're going to get some of those little previews of what some of these characters are, and I think that's what's going to come into play. We might see some characters from the past. Maybe she envisions like, hey, my father's coming, or who knows? I don't know. I mean, that's what I think. We're gonna check this out.
A dedicated like universe like that in Disney Plus, they could do the original Guardians of the Galaxy. They can do all these little side characters that you're seeing. They can do even just little mini series of introductions, so you can get ready for the movie. They teased Adam Warlock and nothing. I mean, you can even do a Howard the Duck 2 with Leah Thompson.
I won't forget. I'll never forget that. Everybody was saying that, oh, it's going to happen. Adam Warlock and everybody, I'm talking about the comic book world. Everybody started scooping up Adam Warlock books and this, that, and the other, saying, I guarantee that this. I'm like,
Infinity. I mean,
we've gone through the whole Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, it was just like the thing about Silver Surfer. I mean, Silver Surfer didn't appear at all in the thing, and he was the one that was carrying the message to Strange and all this. And
well, they replaced it with Hulk. I mean, if you look at when the Hulk, it's almost it's reminiscent of that scene where he's coming or whatever, and it looked the same. Where Silver Surfer was all crashed into the floor, but this time they used Bruce.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty good thing that we have both given it a thumbs up for sure. That this is going to be on our radars of something to watch. Continuing with the X, and we'll be real brief because it's mainly pictures, but we're gonna
Hmm.
this is going to give our look at maybe some of, unless I don't know if you're familiar with this Salvador LaRocca right? LaRocca, yeah,
Hmm.
LaRocca's artwork. It's a sneak peek at Wolverine, Black and White, and Blood. It's actually issue number 2, and it says first up, X Scribe, Chris Claremont. Unfortunately, we have no
Oh,
words in this.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
but
there are
I'm
no
looking
words.
forward to that.
Yeah,
And
and
it's gonna be. I'm gonna call her Kitty Pryde. It's a Wolverine Kitty Pryde story by Chris Claremont, and we've talked about this before. Chris Claremont is what he made Kitty Pryde. You know.
yep. And I think that's we're going to see that it's going to be a
Hmm.
chance to see revisiting this and Wolverine at this time. Logan, he's known as Patch.
Patch.
So
Madripoor,
let's
right?
let's let's kind of zoom through a couple of these photos real quick.
That picture looks. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, man, that brings back some memories.
yeah. What we're seeing here is Wolverine kneeling over the way we usually see him with his claws extended. Of course, he's bloodied up. He's had the battle. He's got the patch on his eye, and standing next to him is
Kitty Pryde
Kitty Pryde.
or
And
Kate Pryde.
yeah,
She's
Kate
older
Pryde.
now, so Kate Pryde.
Yeah, she's got some blood all over too, and it's like they were just in a fight with some. Oh, here we are. We're getting a glimpse of who's this guy.
I think that was his arch nemesis back then,
Okay.
or
Oh,
now his
oh,
new,
whatever. Yeah, I think they might have
whatever
mentioned.
arch nemesis they.
Yeah, whatever arch nemesis he had when he was Patch, he's battling, and the artwork just looks amazing. You're actually getting blow by blow pictures of, left and right, and he backs away. Um, you're basically able to see how fast he is in the things here. It says, and also we're going to get a glimpse of he's teaming up with Greg. It says talented Vita Ayala teaming up with Greg Land for the Sabretooth part.
Now
And
I know some people might be looking at this and thinking all these stories are played out, and but this is the point. I mean, that's classic Sabretooth. That's not the Sabretooth he is now.
yeah,
I mean, that's when it slowly became like these classic. Actually, I wasn't there a cover like this before? Because
yeah,
I see that hand.
yeah.
Uh,
It's almost like an homage, but reinterpreted or whatever. And he's got bloody claws. It's very human looking features, but you got that long mane and then this classic Sabretooth costume. And then you see just the lone hand claws of Wolverine
and
ready
adamant,
to,
like the old school
yep. And then,
glow.
yeah,
Yeah.
there is his old school costume right there. You see his old,
Well, and that plays into in the neck. The third part is we had talked about that before. He looks like he's wearing his brown and tans,
yep. And then they leap at each other with, I guess, the moon in the background and the snow falling down on
like
them.
King Kong and Godzilla.
And then it says we're going to bring in Salali.
Paladin, Ahmed, and Kev Walker.
Okay, and
I'll say the names if you want.
this is the arcade. So this is, see, there you go. You got more Wolverine in classic garb, dude. This is just, it's so incredible to see. I mean, we're talking a very film noir looking
Yeah,
artwork, especially when you're dealing with black and white, and then of course you got that spot red of colors that kind of scatter, and
well,
then
that reminds me of the movie Logan. My daughter had bought it for me one year for my birthday, and it not only had the regular version, but it had a noir version. So it's a black and white version of the movie, and it changes the feel for it. You take it for granted, just what because they do put a lot of thought in the color scheme of the movies. Like The Matrix had that green tint throughout the whole movie. I think when they were in the Matrix world, but it's just with the kind of story that was going on in that movie, to see it in black and white, it added a whole nother. It was like just a whole nother layer of what that movie was. It was pretty cool.
And there's a power meter at the very bottom. I'm assuming that's before he gets into berserker mode. That's the only thing I can assume, that they're showing it as a meter. They're showing it's all red, and then there's a skull. The eyes are starting to get red, and I'm assuming when he gets into the very end of that meter, it'll be in full berserker mode or something of that nature. I'm going to zoom through this next part relatively quick. What we saw
Zoom.
yeah, I saw that. What we saw this past week was a 3 independent comics that made a big splash in one go around. The first one, I'm just gonna briefly show what they were. The first one that was making a big splash is Miles to Go. You know, these are our independents that we're seeing make lots of movement right now are your Booms, Aftershock, and Vault. They've been doing all kinds of stuff to grab, honestly, the newer audiences that are out there. These are younger audiences, and maybe even, you know, people that do not usually read comic books. What I mean by the regular comic books are like superhero, X-Men, Spider-Man, you know, costumed characters, or stuff like that, and it's attracting a different audience, which I think is great. Another book out there is Unkindness of Ravens. They had about 3 or 4 different covers. To me,
I mean, that's something new, right? To have like a variation of covers. I mean, that's something new.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you find an audience that is, you know, that gravitates to this. You got this cover here that I saw this very readily. This book did fly off the shelves, though. I gotta hand it to Boom. They got another hit on their hands, so that's another industry independent making a strong splash at the shelves. The book that I did gravitate to and the book that I really did like was this one. Number one, it sold out 2 weeks before it was even released. They were already offering second prints of the first print before it even hit the shelves. And it was going to be 2 new covers were going to be part of that second printing. They had at least 3. It was basically hitting the shelves as a sold out book. So if you found it on the shelves, you grab it, whatever, because they weren't going to have any back issues. You weren't going to be able to go buy, hey, can I get an extra one like they usually do? Hey, let me contact them. They'll send us a couple of extra issues. This was already, whatever was out there was out there. So if you found it, great. But it's Vault, from Vault, the second print cover. Yeah. And it's going to be available in a foil cover and in a regular cover. Yeah, so yeah, it's you know what? When they do the second print, that's when we'll revisit this book. That way it gives you a chance to read it. It was one of my it wasn't on last week's hot picks, but it was one of those ones that I didn't think I was gonna, honestly, I didn't think this was gonna be on the shelves. It was flying off the shelves at one store. Another store didn't even have any copies because they were gone already, and I had to scrounge around, and I ended up finding some of those issues buried under other stacks of other books. So I luckily found those at my shop, so that I usually go to. And Roland is back with Monster Juice, very different than his pink.
My usual Ultra Rosa.
His Ultra Rosa. Did they not have Ultra Rosa in that neck of the woods, or?
Oh, they did, but my nephew ended up buying one of those boxes full of the mango ones. So I said, okay, well.
Oh, okay, cool.
So because I'm here, the fridge has Monsters, Squirt Soda, and
sounds like you need to call the Ghostbusters. We're here to believe.
Cooked eggs on the. Yeah.
If you have a chance, I will not hold your breath. We are now Saturday. This book has been out since Wednesday. If you are lucky to find a copy, pick it up. If you see it on the shelves, pick it up. This is going to be one of those books that, you know, everybody wonders, hey, can I find the next Lock and Key? Can I find the next, you know, I'm not going to go as far as saying like a Walking Dead or something like that, but you know, this is going to be one of those type of books that people are going to go back. You never know. It seems like the perfect kind of material that would end up in a show. Um, just because of the way the TV industry is now, you just never know.
We don't shame here about why you collect. I may sometimes joke around just because, you know, I like reading. I like comic books. But I mean, honestly, people collect for different reasons. So, you know, being able to find that is probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you want to
Unfortunately,
read
yeah.
it, there's ways that you can still read it.
Another book that we talked about. Well, you didn't get to really read it all the way through, but it is technically the first part of the X of Swords, one of 22. There are going to be there's surprises galore in this thing. I like the way it kind of set up. It is in real tiny print. You have to. I was having trouble looking at this. Uh, it reminded me a lot of, like, you know, some of the other X-Men books. And what I got to get kind of used to is, I'm assuming that we would get to these pages that are white, and I've seen it in other issues, and it gives you like a rundown. It's almost like we're going through a
I know.
computer. Is it like,
Yeah,
is
I
that
noticed that.
is that supposed to be Cerebro, or is it like
Well, I don't know. They do it in Wolverine.
right?
They do it in
Yeah, that's a constant that is going through this entire run of all these books. You're getting a little, like, we're
well, I
getting a
mean,
report. You know what I mean?
well, I
And
mean, but then again, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, I've been trying to catch up on this whole idea of I don't know how to say it, Krakoa,
Cocoa,
Krakoa.
yeah,
But and see, that's like with the Wolverine. That's one thing I've tried to get used to. Is the way they're lettering this is usually traditional lettering is all caps. Um, it's supposed to be easier to read, and so for it's throwing me off. It is hard. Even the Wolverine books, it's a little getting used to, because again, used to the all capital letters
yeah.
lettering.
The style,
So
the style follows all of their X titles, and that is something that stylistically they decided to go with.
that's their brand. That's like the
Right.
branding.
Yeah,
They're-
that's what they're doing. They're trying to keep it all constant, all the way through. I don't even know how to say it. There is some a death that happens in this issue, and I'll just leave it at that. This is a I this go read this, because I told myself there's no way I'm going to do all these 22 books. It's
You
kind of
watch
hard.
22 Marvel movies, so
Yeah, there you go. But then again, you know, what did they say? They said, compared to one of, like, if you were to get all the X books, all you're doing is reading 2 extra books other than the full run of all the X books. So if you're already an X-Men fan, all this is just giving you a taste of all the X books and then 2 more books. For sake of arguments and stuff here, there is a major death and a major reveal in the same thing. Well, actually, there's a couple of reveals. So I'm even more upset that I wasn't able to get an X-Men 12. Let's just say that. And yeah, so
there's since there's more X titles, the story arc's gonna cross to 22. I mean,
yeah,
it's gonna happen, and like you
right.
said, there's just that X of Swords creation, and then the other one's destruction.
Right. Yeah.
I think I
So
have that put on order.
to me, it made for a perfect hot pick. It's definitely what you want to see at the beginning of a event. It has enough to pull you in to want to see, you know, where it's going to go. So that's why that was one of my picks. The other pick, and I'm still sticking by this one, it was Venom 28. A lot of people were, no, there was a certain audience that was not happy with the reveals in this book, and those were speculators. Speculators gravitated towards Virus and Codex, and they were like picking up everything left and right. They were buying tons of Virus books. They were like, this is the guy, this is the ultimate one, and this, that, and the other. Well, I think when they were looking at Venom 25, they said that this is going to be a major character that's being announced in this. Well, I still think the jury is out on that. I don't think we've fully. Everybody needs to go look at that Venom 25 wraparound cover, and let's explore that a little bit careful. Be carefully look at it, because there are some other things in there. Two reveals happen in this book. I don't want to, we could play spoilers or whatever, but I'm not going to do that because the book is still fresh on the shelf. You can pick up this cover or the Stegman variant, and I'll just say this: you do find out who Virus is, and you do find out who Codex is. And I still think the fact that you end up finding out who these characters are, I think those other books are still just as in play as far as collectability and for potential investment purposes. I mean, maybe they're not going to be in the high end like Null, Venom 3 or something like that. But the fact of the matter that we now know who these characters are, now you can go scramble around and go find those key appearances and stuff like that. But it is a version of that next entity. And that's what it always is. It's like, so what? We throw away all the Eddie Brock books and the Cletus Cassidy because we found out that he's Carnage in Venom? No, now those books have their own place. And then, to me, these are versions as such. To me, okay, fine. We know what this character A is. That should be then his first appearance. And then whatever he becomes, that should be his ultimate end game. That's like saying, oh, Eddie Brock's book should be this much higher than the Venom book. Do you know what I'm saying? He became that entity. He became Virus. So now he's elevated to another character. No. I'm just saying the character Virus. No, I'm not revealing anything. I promise. I wasn't
here because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. No, I'm not revealing who's turned into anybody. But I'm saying we're seeing a character that appeared as an entirely different character. So that is a different appearance than what he was prior. It should not dilute what he's become. That's like saying, oh, it's Eddie Brock. Screw Venom. It's not worth shit. The book is a $450 book, $500 book. If you grade the goddamn thing, it's like over $1,000 or whatever. That doesn't matter that if it was Eddie Brock. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody's like, oh, it's this character is Virus and this character's Codex. Get rid of it all. No, it don't work that way. So anyway, I don't know. Everybody's playing too much shit into it. Venom 28.
Whoa.
Venom 28. Go pick it up. Have a blast with it. I think it's a good book. There are more reveals in this, and it's all leading up to the King in Black, and I'm assuming where the fallout is going to be totally when it all.
Is that where they're going to bring Johnny Cash back?
Yeah, that's what it is. He's going to reveal himself to be, hey, I'm Johnny Cash, and
the
then
final issues of
he's going to be singing "Hurt" and everything. Yeah. So those are the three hot comics that I think if they're still available on the shelves, go pick them up.
Did you get to read that X-Men issue though, the one that I was telling you about?
Yeah, I read them all.
Well, I've read. Well, see, that's probably the first time.
I read them before. No, it was fun to revisit.
Like, oh, that right there. It was to me a fresh, a character that didn't just seem like, oh, there he is. He wasn't like Cable, where because he was from a different time, but he didn't feel like Cable. It was just that intro, thinking that these three guys were going to make this big splash in X world. I just look at that. That is one of my just favorite.
It's and it's interesting because you go through this whole book and you don't see none of this until the very last page.
Yep.
Yeah. So I
That
mean
is like that's almost like the last panel right there.
yeah, no kidding. I mean, usually you would see this on the book afterwards, harking to the fact that this happened. I mean, this to me was the super hype show because you're going through this entire book and you're
Yep.
going and you're going and you're going and you're going and you're going. Where the hell's this guy going to appear? And it's not to the end of the book that he makes his appearance. So I thought that was interesting. The book prior to this was 281. That was the launching of
New company. Yeah.
the
Or not new company. The new team.
The new team. The teams were
The
separated
gold
into two
team.
different teams: gold team and blue team.
Yep.
Okay, so you had two different teams, and if you go by the picture up here at the top where you have the little
Yep. That's the team.
yeah, you had the team. The book prior to this did not have a listing on that. You have to go to the book 280, which had the old team, which included Gambit, Cyclops, some of the usual cast of characters that we usually see on the X books and stuff like that.
But even then, wasn't Gambit still somewhat fresh? Like he was kind of new.
Yeah, he was kind of new, but he was listed on the staff bar as far as being a character. He was still kind of getting to know everybody. He definitely gravitated towards Rogue.
You would have thought that, like I said, the only reason we've talked about this before. The only reason that they trusted Gambit is because of Storm. So it's almost like, well, why didn't he just stay with that? But anyway,
yeah. What I put on the screen here is the second print of the X-Men 282, which has the gold background. Same image of Bishop with his hands outstretched and then the energy ball. I'm assuming he's like tossing the ball. I don't know what we're looking at here. And then you see Malcolm and Randall, just shooting away at everything as they come through the portal in search of young Fitzroy.
And if you notice, the badge on the X, because they were part of the Xavier security enforcers.
Yeah. It's a different different future force group.
And the very noticeable tattoo of the
M above the the right eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to tell us about Bishop? He was coming in at a time. Obviously, the books were now into two separate team books. We have X-Men book, which has our Jim Lee in lead doing that book. And then you have now this book, which, has what? Colossus, Angel, or Archangel, actually, Storm, Iceman, and Jean Grey leading this group of X-Men through the ranks, and a gold team, I guess. What do you think the background is on this? I know that this particular character was created by Byrne and Potasio.
I believe so. Yeah, because the cover artist is Wills. And I mean, with diversity, they're introducing a character of color. But again, Bishop's these covers were just phenomenal. It just made you want to just delve in there and read it. But so he was part of the X, but as we read, he didn't believe that these were the X-Men that he had heard about, that he grew up, listening to these great tales of, which I think because there were no statues of the X-Men, he didn't really know the history of it. But no, so in a short overview though, in his first initial, he was of course their enemy. I mean, he didn't know who they were. They didn't know who he was, and he was a more lethal and brutal than the X-Men are used to. So Here, in the name of Xavier, he's over here. They're doing a termination sweep of all these people that escaped from the jail in his time. Which, I mean, years and years later, I think they finally did in one of Bishop's stories, they actually showed that prison break. Like they went back to
show
right
that.
before he, yeah. But so when they introduced him, you know, because of the future, they have so many, you know, inklings. He knows the end of some of these X-Men. I think later on, when he even looks at one of them, he's like, I've never even heard of you. And I think it was Jubilee or something like that. But
No, he said you're the last Jubilee, the last
that's
of
right.
the X-Men. And it
There's
was
one
funny.
person
Yeah.
he said he didn't know. But either way, so they alluded also to some type of connection
Well,
with
I like
Storm.
I like when he mentioned. Well, yeah, I that part I was looking for, but I loved how he was in when he referred to Genesis, and he goes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Forge. He goes,
Forge.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
for now or whatever he says, and so he knows these guys. It's like they're familiar to him to some extent, but then it's interesting when he does when he goes through them like that.
Well,
But
it was in these issues that they showed the video transmission of
yes,
Jean Grey.
yeah, that transmission. It's actually it's in a replay issue where he sees that transmission going. He's in the future. He's remembering. It's when he gets knocked out. It's close to the end of this run. He has a good. He appears in pretty much from 282 to maybe 288.
Oh,
Yeah. Let us hope your confidence in me is well founded, because my students, I am proud to formally introduce you to Bishop, the newest X-Man. So this is major. This is unfortunately we do see two of the this is the whole ambush. Everything is going crazy.
That Bishop, is again another one of some of his covers are
Yep.
The Bishop covers are just like, I remember when we saw this issue, we were like, what?
What is interesting about this time too? I did notice that John Romita Jr., I believe, does the insides of this, because that's that infamous sideways shot. He's like the big square head.
The square nose, the rectangle nose, everything's blocky.
The art
turn Minecraft mode.
The art Portacio is he takes a majority of these issues. So look at the cover artist, Andy Kubert.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very iconic Bishop. Smolder, the gun all shot up, his clothes are torn, and he's just looking to Reddit or just
look at the writers. Look at all the writers to this.
Yeah, you got 4 different writers. John Byrne, that was the originator guy that created this with Portacio, and then you got Jim Lee and LaBelle. See,
that's
Andy Kubert. Andy Kubert.
That's Andy though.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. One of my favorite covers, and
a special appearance by Ghost Rider.
And again, the last. What was it? The last page?
The last page. That's all it is. It's like 3 panels of Ghost Rider. It's like cops pulling somebody off by the road, and and then old Flamehead himself, and then takes off into the night, blazing down the highway and stuff like that. Bishop and Gambit finally meet. You get he's excited to be at the mansion. He's being shown around, and then he's all kind of in awe, where he's like, oh, I'm going to meet the leader of the X-Men. And he's saying this to Storm, who actually is the leader herself, but he's like, oh no, the great Cyclops or whatever. And
again, it's funny. So this happened whenever that other issue where he said, formally introduce you to Bishop. So this came out the next month.
Right.
And so this was on the blue side, which you can see on the staff.
Yeah, up at the top.
Yeah. Cyclops, Wolverine, and
Beast. Yeah, it only has a couple of cats there, but yeah. So we end up getting a little snapshot of, Bishop almost
and then
being like a kid. Yeah.
But also, I believe there's an issue where they have the flashback of him talking to the witness. Okay, but he had that flash. He had a small flashback because the moment he saw Gambit, he called him LeBeau.
Right.
And Gambit was like, whoa, who do you think you are?
Bishop, as a child, was adopted by LeBeau.
Oh.
Yeah. See,
That
there you
was
go.
later then.
Yeah. And so he's adopted by him, and then he gets separated from him, and he has to grow up away from that guy. So there's a connection even earlier. The Last Witness, he goes in there, and you see this guy with long hair. He's old, and he's got his robe, and he's got two girls
He
at
has
the
women. I know. I didn't understand.
yeah. Yeah, this
You're
is
a
kind of
prisoner, but
crazy. And then, you see this pink
glow.
energy
Yeah.
glow around him and stuff. And, he demands to know, and he's calling him LeBeau, and he keeps calling him Pup. He finally gets back to I guess, our present. He's being introduced in the mansion to all the X-Men. And as they go down the line, at first it was just very innocently
Yep.
that even he mentions Gambit, and it was just very innocently. He's like, oh, all the X-Men, and he's kind of excited to be there. And then something triggers. I think it's something he says,
I think it's
and then
Pup.
yeah, and when he says that, that's what triggers off him saying LeBeau and this, that, and the other, and then they're ready to
And
strap it
Gambit
on.
gets in a stance going, why are you
Yeah.
saying that? Like,
Yeah,
because at that point people just knew him as Gambit. They didn't
Yeah.
know him fully. I think at that time as Remy
right.
LeBeau. So
Who are you to just start saying somebody's name and this, that, and the other? I guess he was still under secret identities, or I don't know what it is. People using code names. And then it's like, hey, you know what? Let's go have a picnic. And so
remember I
it's
told
all
you,
fun it's all fun and games. And it's just so they're all having fun and games at the picnic. They all start strapping it on. It gets all testy again. Rogue and Gambit are doing this. Hey, whatever, da 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 da. I'd like to show you some things and touch you and this and all this crap. And then
Pepe Le Pew.
yeah, and then it looks like they're gonna fight again. But then this time, the pie incident.
Oh, that is my favorite
Yeah,
scene because he charges up a
yeah,
pie.
yeah,
And then when they're talking, he says the whole line, you've got a plasma rifle and I have a boysenberry pie. Who's the crazy one or something like
yeah.
that? It was so, and so he throws it at Bishop. He ducks and it hits Rogue.
And then they're all like, ha, ha, ha. They're all laughing together in one panel. I'm like, what's going on in this thing? And then,
yeah.
And then he's shot in the chest, or is that a little bit later on? He gets shot in the chest.
Gambit says the line where he's like, I have a feeling I'm going to outlive all of you. And Bishop gives that little sideways look.
Yep.
Like, this guy.
Yeah. The woman, Belladonna, appears and just shoots the shit out of him. And we're like at first thinking, yeah.
And she's the one who fully says his name, Remy LeBeau. And so they said LeBeau. So they gave LeBeau first. And then, so this was like the first,
reveal
glimpse of who Gambit was.
We end up seeing him play out through flashback. We see more of a backstory that we had ever seen. Just the fact that he was married.
The Guild of Thieves.
Yeah. Everybody, even Rogue, is shocked of his past, and they all go married, and and
he could have to me, and again, it all happens because Will Portacio and all that left.
Yeah,
and
they
so
left.
To me, it was almost like not to slight him, but it was almost like, well, you're not here anymore. We're gonna go on, and since we didn't create Bishop, we'll figure him out later.
Yeah,
because later that vision or that video that they saw of Jean Grey came back again when Onslaught appeared, because then in real time it played out, and she was talking about Professor X the whole time, and because it all took place when he took Magneto's mind way back in X-Men, X-Men 2, and he like made him a blank slate. He kept his mind in there, and it manifested into Onslaught, which destroyed, a lot of the Earth and mutants. And, but, so it played that video, and, like I said, it ended up being, but then also you find out that Gambit was a traitor because he worked with the Marauders, like Sabretooth and stuff like that. And that's why he knew him, because he was the one that pretty much did intel and figured out and told the Marauders, oh, those mutants are over there. And then they left him out in the snow for dead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
But Bishop.
yeah. So Bishop, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I was reading that he has 4 limited run series.
Hmm.
They've
I had one of
tried,
those.
yeah, they've tried to use him. He has appeared in the cartoon. He was but of course the way that they introduce the cartoon, just like they do the movies, it's not in the same form, different ways and reasoning. So
And the harmonica. Every time it came out, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
yeah,
wait, what?
wait, what?
Is he from the
Yeah,
South? The
yeah,
future
he's
South?
the future South. What was it? It was like Brooklyn he was from, but they were making him like he was like from someplace else. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
because he was, anyway.
Anyway, so that and then of course he did appear. I
Days
thought
of
it was
Future
cool.
Past.
Yeah, it was cool to see him.
I thought, yeah.
It was finally we got to see him, but then he explodes.
But, and again, like,
Yeah.
visually, he looked like, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to watch a movie with him in it,
Right.
because it was
It was
just
yeah, it was dark. It was cool. You got to see all these future dudes jumping around, and I was like, "Wow, this is
blink
cool."
and
And then one at a time, boom, he's gone. Boom, he's gone. I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" But
well, and it's funny because if I recall, Blink came out in Age of Apocalypse. Like, she was in an alternate reality who ended up being one of those fan favorites.
yeah,
And just like I said, organically, she was a fan favorite. They didn't say, "Here's Blink, you're gonna like her. She's one of the most popular." It's like her first issue, the most popular X-Men ever. It's,
uh, that's Bishop in a nutshell. We were able to kind of establish uh, his creation and his arc in that early arc. I didn't really want to go too much into what his
well,
current thing because I
in
think
true fashion,
his main
this
impact
is
was
this is considered my segment of my treasure chest. So we went with when he first came out, the '90s
yeah,
Bishop, and yeah, we could go on, but I'm talking about the initial impact that this character had on me,
yeah,
and even the comics. We thought he was gonna like take over. He was gonna be a leader of the X-Men at some time, and then he's almost like one of the C team now. He's like, the X-Men reserves, like Banshee.
yeah,
Because remember, Banshee and Forge were all like reserve X-Men.
right,
That's
right.
how it almost seemed like they turned Bishop into that.
Yeah,
Every once in a while,
they got him at the Antarctic, kind of just waiting for the call or whatever. Hey, guard here at Czechoslovakia. Don't let anybody come in. Just stay here. Be on guard.
you're
It's
doing the
funny
job.
that you mentioned Banshee because Banshee does appear in this X of Swords thing. So yeah, hey, I don't know. I don't know where Bishop is in this time. Has Bishop appeared in any of these? See, that's the thing. I don't know what.
Well, that this Wolverine,
He's in
but
there.
he's just like a soldier. Yeah, that's what I showed you. That
Okay.
picture
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
he was whenever Wolverine has Magneto's. Oh, right there.
Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Very cool.
And see, he's wearing he's a
But
man
it,
from
but
the
it, but
future
it,
who's
but
still wearing a bandana,
yeah,
like a big ascot.
yeah, like Scooby Doo and Speed Racer. Uh, but that's a Wolverine book. Does he appear in the X-Men books?
I
Don't
again,
know.
I'm just catching up now
Right.
with,
Yeah. No. Not
and because of
now.
this
I'm intrigued.
podcast,
Now I'm intrigued to go find out.
because of this podcast, I've started looking into the comic world of what it is now compared to when I
Yeah.
mean, because again, I was collecting through the early 2000s too, so it's not like I only collected in the '90s. It was around the last comics I really collected again were the past collections of Walking Dead, and that was mainly my wife though, because
Yeah.
whenever the next payday would come up,
I
she's like, "Where's my book?"
I would say tread lightly. Don't.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm only looking up synopsis. I'm not like gonna be picking
Right.
up
Right.
all these
Yeah.
issues.
Because I was gonna say that it's unfortunate how some of the fallout has hit, and thinking about it, I mean, we were reading volume 1 and 2 and relaunching of X-Men volume 1, and now we're in volume 5.
I
Yeah.
I only thought they did. I mean,
Yeah.
for the longest time, I mean, I thought those different volumes were like when you were getting up to the 500s. or the 600.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, no, it's and
But see, this is why
unfortunately that they were.
they're starting to do volumes like seasons now.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's to me, it's like and then they go, oh yeah, and by the way, we're at Wolverine 350, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, Wolverine 6 is going to be 350, and it's like, okay. See, to me, when they start doing legacy numbers, this is BS because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the consistent story. It's not one. You know,
When you relaunch something, yeah, you don't get to use legacy numbers. That's like
right. And that's a Marvel thing there. That's a Marvel way of they're trying to make people collect the whole thing, but at the same time do these like, oh, guess what? We have another number one. Like this past they're going to do another Iron Man number one. It's like the last time they did this was in 2018, and they issued out different covers for every armor that Iron Man had. We're talking 20, 30, 40 different covers with a different set of armor in the corner. It was like, this is absurd. I don't even know anybody that, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we know a couple people who would
buy every single one of them. Dude, that's like, I can't even think about how much that is. I was looking at projections of what things are going to be like for the regular comic book buyer. Like, say like a guy goes, you know what, I like to buy all the variants of every cover. If they were to do that for the King in Black, if you're a Venom fan, you're going to be spending a little bit over $200, I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you were to buy every variant and every cover, like every cover and variant and tangent storyline, just in December alone. You're spending two bills by itself.
Well, okay, so I remember. I think about that, and I remember somebody posted a picture of all the 3 Jokers, and I was like, "Are those all like different issues?" No, they were variant covers of one issue, and there were like 12 of them or something like that. I'm like, that is.
Yeah, and that's what it is
to me, and so it goes. I don't know. To me, the cover
that's another show.
Yes, because it is at the we're at least for me now it's noon.
Yeah. Welcome to the Rip Comics Podcast. It's 12 o'clock in California. Now we're going to do the California version right here.
So like totally, I took the 405 going to the comic book store and then
and I stopped at Fat Burger.
I don't have a
taco
in and out.
Then I'm going to go get
taco. It is
down the street.
It's down the street. But it's so different from when I was here. That's going to be a little. I have to say it when because Del Taco, you can get your tacos, your burgers, your chili, or their chili fries are like awesome.
Yeah.
I used to when I was stationed here. This is my first duty station where I am living right now is where I had my first duty station. And after work, we would go buy a macho burrito, which was a pound burrito, and a macho nacho, which was a pound of nachos, and that would be each. And then our steak tacos. And I remember a while back we came back and I went to Del Taco and I was like, I'll take 3 steak tacos, and because Jess wanted one too, and they were like, well, do you want this asada? I'm like, no. I just said I want a steak taco. They're like, well, we have this taco fresca, and I'm like, where is the steak taco? And they were like, I'm sorry, sir, we don't do that anymore.
And there were some hot comics that are coming out this coming up week. And that's going to be September 30th. There's a couple of issues that I want people to be aware of. This Comic Book Wednesday, just when we thought we had enough of him, it's back. Issue 310. And if you notice, he does have some spikes because he changes in 309. He becomes something a little bit different. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he has his self-love up top.
Oh, yeah. He's comeback will be bigger. It says right there. Right on top.
So if you're going to get this issue, just say you're going to get it. Don't act like you don't. Just say you're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't go hoarding the second prints like you were planning to do all along. But yeah, so 310, I'm not going to really get into too much of it. It is I believe it's the third part of the storyline that has been thus far, the gunslinger, welcome back. He's on the hunt for something insidious, demons hiding among humans, secret dealings with big pharma, big plans are about to be exposed. Is there a storm coming, and is Spawn at its center? There it is. This is a
Or
Matina
will it
cover.
be null and void? I mean,
This one is the Matina cover, and the McFarlane cover is Ninja Spawn. So it has nothing to do with the story. It's just I'm going to throw Ninja Spawn in there for player to be named later in the series.
and on the cover it should say, also, if you want to see more Ninja Spawn, go to my Kickstarter. My Kickstarter has all these cool, bam, boom, toys. I'm going to re-release every single toy
All of
that
them.
I've ever released. Yeah. Of course, the only one I am looking forward to is Savage Dragon, because I did have the Savage Dragon McFarlane toy, and so I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a
Yeah, especially the way he's doing them. I think I'm wondering if he is. Did he say he said he was going to do all his original characters again, right?
Well, the first run, like all in order, like the way they came out before.
But there it is, 310. Put it on your list. It rounds up. Who knows where they're going? It just says a storm begins. Don't count this on being on the shelf. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to, and they might not even do a second printing of this. Yeah, I mean, maybe they will. I do not know, but I'm warning everybody right now when it comes to if it's a non-McFarlane cover, more than likely he doesn't do extra printings on those. Once they've passed, they've passed. But this cover has been shown. I've shown this thing since the very first podcast that we did, stating that this was going to be an issue. Lo and behold, I didn't know that he was going to have 2 more appearances prior to leading up to this. But this one, if you didn't know about this one already happening, you've been sleeping under a rock. So be prepared.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Has he ever done a pirate Spawn? I know he's done a medieval and all this other stuff, but has he done a pirate Spawn?
For some reason, I just want to say yes, but I don't know.
Okay,
I know he's
but
got
if he
Mandarin.
hasn't, I'm saying it here first. 2021 will show
The pirate.
because he did the ninja Spawn, so why wouldn't you do a pirate Spawn?
Yeah, you know what? He's probably going to do a Turok style Spawn.
Native American. Well,
He's doing the village people.
What can't? Construction Spawn, Sailor Spawn. We'll draw a Sailor Spawn.
Going to the next issue, Fantastic Four.
What?
Yeah, and you're saying, yeah, exactly. That is your response, and everybody around the comic book world that is watching our podcast right now are like, "Did he really say Fantastic Four?"
Is that Medina? Is that no? That's
You can look at the top, right across the top. It's bonus story included. Nexus War Thor by Donny Cates and Greg Land.
So it's like if you were reading the Nexus War on Facebook Live, that would be that bonus stuff that you have on this show.
And this is the only book that's going to feature that. And it connects with the FORTNITE that's already been playing out. So it's like, oh, you mean that thing that's already out? So it's like chicken and the egg, which came first? Do-do-ba-do-ba-do. This should have probably been released, before that to get everybody ready for the launch of the FORTNITE stuff. But this is that special little bonus Thor that ties into the FORTNITE Marvel crossover that they've been having. And they've been issuing out Apocalypse and all these guys. Blade is the next one rumored to be popping up into this FORTNITE world. I think it's awesome. It's a
I did see that. Yeah.
It's a way to get kids. I wonder what the lasting effects. My son, because he already played FORTNITE and he was already dabbling in the comics, I think he kind of saw, he was able to connect that. But I'm wondering if this is a way that Marvel is trying to get more kids into liking these characters and realizing that, hey guys, guess what? You can have your own books out there. And that is why I'm saying that this is going to happen. Because if people don't know that this little crossover thing, a Donny Cates, Greg Land thing is happening in the Fantastic Four, and it's not happening in any other book. It's actually happening in this issue, and that's the only way. This could be that little book that creeps up on you going, oh, you guys didn't pick it up because you weren't Fantastic Four collectors. So I'm telling you guys right now, that should be a hot pick. I don't know if your comic book store picks up a lot of Fantastic Four, but that one for sure, just because of the little bonus. And it's so bad that I'm not focusing on the Fantastic Four issue itself.
Yeah.
But I think that Thor is hot right now, and of course that whole Fortnite and Donny Cates connection will elevate that particular book to a different orbit. Now, you haven't been reading this, but we're barely at issue 3, and it's felt like it's been forever that this book has been coming out. I need to get you, and I know I've said it before. I need you to read Strange Academy 1 and 2.
And see, I saw, and I remember when it was at Texas Toys. I saw that second issue for the longest time. Just that, that medallion or whatever was on.
Yeah, that's a second or third print. Yeah, they're already at 4th printings right now of both of those. When I first saw this being advertised, I was like, it's another like young kid thing. And I saw that Scotty Young's name was attached to it. Yeah, I kind of thought maybe it's going to be kind of that. No, I was actually a little way off on that, and it's actually pretty fun. I actually really enjoy it because it's in that vein of that dynamic. I'm having lots of fun with it. Can't wait for issue 3. It's great to study what these characters are and their powers and stuff like that. I really think you'll probably get a kick out of it. Now,
well, for the fact I'm seeing Doyle Dormammu, I'm already like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, perusing it a little bit more, maybe.
And plus, Humberto Ramos. I mean, for the fact that it's those guys.
Yeah, and they show a little the Academy crew.
I know. Okay, so I noticed that's like one of the, I guess, the new things that they do, and they kind of tell you who's going to be in the issue.
Little preface, yeah. And what we talked about before in the last issue, we talked about how they are doing that, and it kind of updates you. You can probably join in at any issue. I think this will relate to a lot of the kids now. It's, to me, I think,
be hip with the kids and all that.
They're all zooming right here. No, I'm just. But I really enjoy the artwork. I really like the way it is being presented. It's a lot younger grouping of kids. They're not, this is like what it probably would have been like for the X-Men, when they were first doing those issues when they were younger. But I don't even know if they were this young.
Well, Power Pack, remember, they were like kids.
Right,
like they were,
right.
Yeah. Because they would like team up with Franklin Richards or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to be one that I will catch up on. Because now that I kind of know more, and like I said, that's my goal now, is to kind of catch up at least of what's going on. I'm not going to be collecting all this stuff.
Yeah, no. But yeah, this is one I think, catching up. I know there's a trade paperback coming in of those first couple of issues in December, and it almost seems like these ones fly off the shelves completely. They're gone. Everybody's picking up Strange Academy. Strange Academy printing 1 is going easily for like $40 easily. It's really hot. Multiple covers in some cases. There's at least 3 covers coming out in these first couple of issues. They have the Alex Ross version where he, it's a very it's like Scarlet Witch is going to be coming out, I think, in one of the next ones. And then they'll do a character sketching of one of the current characters, and they'll put them in that kind of mode. And then you'll have like an issue like that where it's Humberto Ramos or Delgado, I think they said. They'll do these other poses and stuff like that. It's not that deep in. I mean, you can still, for anybody out there that is curious about the Strange Academy, they are just a couple of issues in, so it makes it easily accessible. You can pick up like a third, fourth, maybe printing of this. That way you can kind of catch on. If you want to read it in that way, you can do go online and subscribe to some of these companies and read them that way. But it is actually a really fun read, and I can't wait to read number 3. Definitely, I think it's something that you would like, based on, what it was is kind of like, I don't want to say, I mean, I was getting vibes of Gen 13 and I was getting vibes of early X-Men, and I was getting that early team growth together. And, I just like that dynamic. I really like
Like a Midnight Force,
yeah,
like a Midnight Force.
yeah, perfect. It was it was definitely fun the way that they kind of established all of that. And one more issue that I have on the block, and I'm not anticipating
This
anybody.
fourth, the
Yes.
fourth issue. I thought we were just okay.
Yeah. What?
Woo! Bonus material right
You
here.
thought I was
I
only
thought we
doing?
were going to do 3.
Yeah. Well, surprise. I thought
Surprise!
I couldn't miss this one. Chainsaw
Oh
Man.
wow!
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's going to carry this. If they do,
Yeah.
I will totally have a cow. It is Chainsaw Man, Tatsuki Fujimoto,
Moto.
Moto,
It's Moto, not Moto. Moto.
Moto.
Actually, we should ask Chris.
But this is man. Look at that. He's got like a chainsaw face and blades on his arms and like a full
Wait,
blown
is that
chainsaw.
a third arm? Oh no, that's his head. Okay, so he has.
Yeah. He's got one on his head. He's got one on his arms, and who knows? Maybe he's got one on his leg, and he just,
I can just picture Chainsaw Man versus Ash, or a team up book, $10.
I'm just zooming ahead here. It says, now with the power of a devil inside him, Dingy becomes a whole new man, Chainsaw Man. So, yeah, he's drowning in debt. He's a simple man, simple dreams, and his sad life. He gets turned upside down when he's betrayed by someone he trusts.
And then how does it happen?
Yeah, look what happens. It says he's hunting down devils with his pet devil dog, Pochita. So, yeah.
Is he Mexican now?
Yeah, I don't know. There you go.
Pochita. No, it's Pochita, man. You know what? You're just.
Pochita.
You want me to say these words? Yeah, not.
We'll go then say this name.
Where? Denji.
There you go. That's him. But there you go. Screw it. Let's go ahead and just take a quick glance at biscuits.
Okay, yeah, we might want to. I mean, this is going to be gory. We might not want to. We want little kids to watch this too, right? Oh, what? Wait.
Kira hands.
Yep. Is that a snake? That was.
What the hell is this? It's a muscles. It got muscle devil. It says here. Oh. To me, this is like living a dream. It's the first time I've got treated like a person, and the first time I got treated to a meal. And then I don't know what the heck this is. Some smooge there. Maybe it's I don't know.
So you can't print it out?
Yeah, there you go.
Keep living like this. Anyway.
Yeah. So there you go. Chainsaw Man. I don't anticipate a lot of stores getting this. It is Viz Media is providing this. So yeah, and unless your comic book store, and it is more in a graphical novel. It's volume 1, and it is $9.99. So it does have a little bit higher price. It is going to be, I don't know how many pages, it doesn't say, but it's definitely going to be one of those kind of crazy issues. Those are the 4 issues that I have for you guys to take a look at. If you missed what those are, go to the Rip Comics Podcast Facebook. I do have a piece of artwork there with all those covers, and I will share that on Twitter and Instagram on Comic Book Wednesday. But you get the early preview pick on Facebook, because you will be able to see what that is. That's the show. I don't know. Do you have anything else that you'd like to hint about or preview of what may happen next week?
Nope. Keep it a surprise. But I do want to say, for everybody who's watching live, or if you don't get to catch it live, but you want to ask a question, like in the chat, we'll try to answer or comment on some of the things you ask or bring up. And sometimes we might miss it. But if you're watching this or listening to this podcast at a different time, feel free to go to the. I think we have a Instagram account. We have a
There's Twitter.
The Facebook page, Twitter. Ask us, and if any of your comments, or you want to send in fan art of Rob doing dances and stuff like that, we'll accept those too. There we go. We'll accept those too, and possibly show them, since he won't show. Well, at least in the edit, he'll show. I had drawn a picture of us for the podcast, since I didn't like my bishop drawing.
He drew a picture of Jonah Jameson. I don't know what he was drawing there.
Look at you.
What the heck does that mean?
Look at your hair. You got the
look at your hair there. But yes, please send all your correspondence. Subscribe. Follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple. Look for it all over the place. Yep. Go to the Anchor page. We have it linked on all over. Anchor.fm/Ripped Comics Podcast. And from there, you can find your favorite podcast app and listen to us, and then follow us, and then you won't miss an issue.
Issue, yes.
Yes, I said issue. And that way you can stay on top of everything Ripped Comic Podcast. If there's anything that you want to talk about, or if there's anything that you want us to talk about and revisit, let us know. Drop us a line, drop us a message, drop us a video, drop us whatever. If you want to even join us and talk about some of this stuff, that could happen as well. But for now, I want to say thank you for watching and listening Ripped Comics Podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Roland.
Till next time.
Rip and Star! Rip and Star!